There's something that a caller said that just haunts me and haunts me. And so I'm sorry if I keep repeating it to my audience, but a caller called me and said, "Hey, Art, it's like Earth is getting mad at us." And I thought about that for a second. I said, no, Earth doesn't get angry. Earth gets even. And even that implies some sort of consciousness, which I'm not so sure about. But what I think is, Kevin, that when we put nature out of balance, the Earth itself, its environment, its ecosystem, its closed system, simply responds to correct that balance. Now, a casual observer might think Earth is getting angry at us. But she's not really getting angry. She's just sort of restoring a balance.
I would 100% agree with that statement. Rupert Sheldrake's what is called morphogenic field theories, or the idea of the Gaia effect, is that the idea of the Earth as a living organism is receiving a great deal more credence nowadays as we look at this crisis in the ecology. And even biblically speaking, it says, you must keep the laws of the prophets, lest the earth itself spew you forth.
Well, what do you say to right-wing religious fundamentalists whose view is that the earth and all that is on it was put here for our exploitation, our use, and that politically, as you well know, there is a large movement in this country to debunk at all costs anybody who might talk about changes that we need to make to begin to make corrections in our environmental situation. There's a very, very strong political lobby against anything of that sort.
I totally agree. There is an attempt to repress what I consider some of the more progressive type of thinking that could lead to a much more hopeful scenario if it comes out and becomes part of the mainstream values. The Institute of Noetic Sciences has done a hopeful demographics of what appears to be an emerging demographics of what is called the cultural creatives. These are people who draw their values, for instance, from what they consider to be authentic in relationship to the ecology, authentic in relationship to what they see working in our democratic institutions, and want to bring about massive reform, and that they're in juxtaposition to the more traditionals who draw only upon fundamentalist religious belief systems. They trace the demographics that this is about 35 to 45 million people,
yep,
voting age, and that but what they need to do is to become more conscious of themselves as a demographic force. So they're, in addressing the issue about right-wingers and stuff, first of all, humorously, I'd like to go on the record that in spite of Mr. Falwell's best statements, I don't think that Tinky Winky, for instance, is the Antichrist. And I did take offense at at some of the anti-Semitic implications in some of his statements. But
he's been making some absolutely remarkable statements lately. I mean, just things that blow you away.
It is rather remarkable, and I think that what it is, it has to do with the fraying of that particular demographics, that they have run the course of any ideas that they may have had per se, and that there is a new demographics emerging out there. And if it can have these kinds of effects, that newly emerging demographics that Jeffrey Goodman was able to document so excellently, perhaps we ourselves have reached a crisis that the ancestors have known about, whether it's the Anasazi or whether it is the builders of the pyramid, that the past maybe is the precursor to the future, and that we have something to learn from those ancestors.
Well, I want to lighten up on my statement a little. There are many in the religious community who view what's said in the Bible as a mandate to be good custodians of what is here.
Yes.
Which is very different. But there's a large radical group, unfortunately, that is pushing politically with some great success to subvert any attempts at change to correct the environment, and that's who I was talking about. West of the Rockies, you're on there with Kevin Ryerson. Hi.
Hello?
Hello.
Art, yes, this is actually, I'm east of the Rockies, but your east of the Rockies number doesn't work up here north of Toronto.
So you got through on the West of the Rockies line in Toronto?
Yes, actually.
That's really interesting.
That's resourceful.
North of Toronto, yeah.
Yeah, whatever it takes, you made it. Do you have a question?
Yes, Mr. Ryerson.
Yes.
I was just wondering, what is it like when you have these, like, visions, or is it like a apparition? Does it come to you in a dream? Is it just a feeling that you get?
A subtle feeling or a specific vision, Kevin?
Well, in meditation, it can be a specific vision. In particular, if you form a question first, which is like what the Socratic method says, is that if you form the right question, more than likely the right answer is already within you. And through meditation, you have the ability of forming a very specific inquiry, and then you have an episode of direct knowing. Now, myself, I'm a practitioner of what's called Anja Yoga, which it is the belief that the mind or the intellect can be an equal tool for bringing together the spirit and the body. So in my particular case, when I am experiencing what's called a conscious clairvoyant episode, it is like a very clear, comprehensive body of knowledge that I did not necessarily take into the rational, critical process.
So in other words, it's not a fuzzy concept you're plucking from what you're feeling. It is an absolute knowing.
It is comparable to Einstein's insight of seeing light, or his theory of relativity, as a horse coming down on a beam of light. And it just took him 10 years to work out the math.
There you are. All right, Kevin, hold on. Are you good for another hour?
Oh, hey, I'm ready.
All right. Kevin Ryerson is my guest. This is Coast to Coast AM.
Or call Art on the wildcard line at area code 702-727-1295. This is Coast to Coast AM from the Kingdom of Nye.
Peace of mind, and I'm ready for the times to get better.
Well, I'll tell you, me too. Waiting for the times to get better. So many people I know have come to very difficult times, or worse lately. It's astounding. We'll keep you updated on Richard Hoagland's situation. He's suffered a massive heart attack. He's in Miami. He's facing surgery later on this morning. His condition is not good. The white LED flashlight from the Sea Crane Company, well, I think I'll read you a letter from somebody which says, this is not just another flashlight, it's a whole new technology. Anyway, back now to Kevin Ryerson. Kevin, welcome.
Thank you.
And lots of people want to talk to you, so here we go. First time caller line, you're on the air with Kevin Ryerson. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. Where are you?
This is Dawson in Memphis.
Memphis.
AM WREC.
Of course.
And, Kevin, you were talking about the... Oh, by the way, this call is dedicated to Richard Hoagland.
Thank you.
You were talking about the precession of the equinoxes.
Yes.
And being 2,174 years.
Yes.
Okay, in Graham Hancock's book, Fingerprint of the Gods,
Yes.
he said in order to make the math work that the ancients had planted in mythology all over the world, the figure 2,160, mainly because it's divisible by 9, and it made their math easier. Did you know that number 2,160 has also been hidden in Genesis?
I have heard quite a number of different frameworks of reference on that. Jim Hurtak, in his book, The Keys of Enoch, in conversations I've had with him, has made mention of this.
What happened, Joseph Campbell, they were running a PBS program, and he mentioned that a German scholar had worked the math out for the Great Cycle in the Patriarch's ages. And he didn't give any specifics. So I sat down and I took a look at it. And the Patriarchs, as you know, have very long ages anyway. And Enoch, having lived 365 years, that should be a clue that it could be some hidden math in there anyway. Okay? But I found out if you take all the patriarchs to when they begot their sons, and add it up, you get 1556. Okay, now you have to add another 100 years in there because it's 100 years further till the flood. And Graham had said the precession math is very often hidden with flood stories. Okay, that'll give you 1656. Now, let's see, I want to follow what I've got written down here. You have to multiply this by Enoch's total age, which is 365, to get a total number of days. Be 604, 440. However, you've left out leap year days. You take the 360 degrees of a circle, which all this stuff is tied with, add that to it, you get 604, 800. To get weeks, you divide it by the 7 heavenly bodies that we name the days of the week after. This will give you 86, 400, and you divide this again by the mnemonic, which is the 40 days and nights of the flood, and you get 2,160.
All right.